Are you struggling to sleep? Or maybe you used to be that type of person, as soon as their head hit the pillow, they were out. But now you've been struggling, laying awake at night for hours, just your mind racing, and you haven't been getting good rest lately. Is it possible that God is the one actually keeping you awake? That is possible. It's not for sure, but it's a question worth asking. So, if God was the one keeping you awake, here are 5 possible reasons for why he might be doing that. Number 1, God could be keeping you awake if he has something to say to you. In 1 Samuel chapter 3, we have a biblical example of God keeping someone awake because he had something to tell that person. Samuel was still young and was serving under Eli the priest. During the night, God was calling Samuel, but he thought it was Eli because he hadn't learned how to hear the voice of God yet. He went to Eli twice before Eli finally perceived what was happening to Samuel. Eli then told Samuel that if he hears the voice again, say, "Speak, Lord, for your servant hears." Once Samuel responded to the Lord said what he needed Samuel to hear. Likewise, if God has something to say to you that you're not picking up on, he definitely could be trying to tell you through your lack of sleep. Quiet your heart to listen and see if God is trying to say something to you. When you hear the voice of God, you will definitely find rest. Number 2, if you have something to say to God, he could be keeping you awake. A biblical example of this is when Jacob wrestled with God. It says he wrestled with him until the break of the day. Genesis 32:26 through 28 continues, "Then he said, 'Let me go, for the day has broken.' But Jacob said, 'I will not let you go unless you bless me.' And he said to him, 'What is your name?' And he said, 'Jacob.' Then he said, 'Your name shall no longer be called Jacob, but Israel, for you have striven with God and with men and have prevailed.'" This story always confused me because isn't God just powerful enough to make Jacob release him? Why does he say, "Let me go"? And doesn't God already know his name? Why does he say, "What is your name"? Well, the truth is, I think God did all of this because he needed Jacob to know that Jacob needed something from God. He needed a blessing. And Jacob wasn't aware of this. So God put him through this scenario that forced Jacob to realize he needed to ask God for what God wanted to give him, which was a blessing. When it comes to the name question, what is your name? Again, God probably wanted Jacob to remember his past deception because the name Jacob means deceiver. And in that story, he then gives him a new name, signifying a new identity. I'm starting something new with you. Likewise, if you're unaware of something you need from God, this could be the reason God is keeping you awake, so that you become aware of it and you ask for that thing he wants to give you. Number 3, if you have deep regrets, the Lord won't let you sleep well until you receive his mercy and grace. After Peter denied Jesus 3 times, there's a story in John 21 where Peter goes out with a few other disciples and fishes all night. No sleep and no fish. Jesus then appeared to them and called from the shore, "Children, do you have any fish?" They answered him, "No." He said to them, "Cast the net on the right side of the boat and you will find some." When they hauled up the miraculous catch of fish, Peter instantly realized that was Jesus on the shore, so he jumps in the water and swims to Jesus, which is an amazing story in and of itself. But when you know Peter's background, this story in John 21 actually carries a lot more significance than you first realize. In Luke 5, this was years ago, before Jesus called them into ministry and before Peter ended up betraying Jesus. So in Luke 5, Jesus again told them to go out and fish. In obedience, Peter did, and they caught a miraculous amount of fish, just like they did years later in John 21. Through repeating this event that started Peter's journey with Jesus, Jesus was basically telling Peter, even though you betrayed me, I still love you. I still choose you. You are still my disciple. Now keep serving me. Likewise, if you have deep regrets, God's going to keep you up all night so that you come to him and receive the mercy and grace that he wants to give you through Jesus. Number 4, if you did not honor the Lord with your body, God could be allowing you to reap the natural consequences of restlessness. Ecclesiastes 5:12, sweet is the sleep of a laborer, whether he eats little or much, but the full stomach of the rich will not let him sleep. God has made our bodies in such a way where there are natural consequences to the choices that we make. We have to do certain things that induce a sleepful mode, because if we're misusing our bodies throughout the day, that will affect us. So, for example, a lot of people have sedentary jobs nowadays, and they come home extremely tired because they've been thinking hard all day, they've been dealing with people all day, and emotionally they're just exhausted. But when you take a snapshot of their day, they mostly sat in a chair. Again, not being lazy, but also not using their bodies. And so one natural consequence of not physically exercising is that your body just might not be ready to sleep because it hasn't been worked out properly. And so God could allow you better sleep if you make better choices with your body and sacrifice some time and energy and do a workout throughout the day. Or, for example, maybe you're laying in bed scrolling for hours, using your mind in anxious ways, doom scrolling, just looking at all kinds of stuff that are getting you emotionally ramped up, which does not induce a sleepfulness. Big picture, honor the Lord with your body. And a lot of times the natural consequences is that your body's going to do what God designed your body to do. And that is get rest. And number 5, if you're not trusting the Lord with the details of your life, he could be not blessing you with the peace and restfulness that he wants to give you. Psalm 127, 1-2, unless the Lord watches over the city, the watchman stays awake in vain. It is in vain that you rise up early and go late to rest, eating the bread of anxious toil, for he gives to his beloved sleep. The best antidote to sleep-robbing anxiety is radical trust in the Lord. Yes, there are problems waiting for you tomorrow, but God wants you to rest in his peace tonight. As Jesus promised, come to me, all who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Did you have a relationship dream about someone? And was that dream from the Lord? That's the topic I cover in this video right here. I'm Mark from ApplyGodsWord.com. I'll see you at the next video. God bless.